recent interview with Mehdi Hasan, Bernie Sanders was asked whether he plans to do some rallying in West Virginia in order to apply pressure on Senator Joe Manchin on the passage of Biden's infrastructure bill. Now, Manchin has come out against some of the corporate tax hikes that are proposed in that legislation. And so the real question here is, what are progressives like Senator Sanders gonna do? And here's what he had to say while talking to Mehdi Hasan.
There is a lot of work being done internally in terms of bringing the Democratic caucus together. Once again, we passed the most significant piece of emergency legislation, which among other things will cut childhood poverty in half. I expect that the second reconciliation bill will be very profound in creating millions of good paying jobs. And by the way, I'm going to do everything that I can, along with others, in making sure that we do pass that $15 an hour minimum wage.
Understood.
As well
but
as many other
you support internal pressure, but you support internal pressure on Joe Manchin, not publicly going to West Virginia and calling him out, as you said.
Well, I think there are a variety. I have no problem with going to West Virginia, but I think we need a grassroots movement that makes it clear to Joe Manchin and everybody else in the United States Senate, including Republicans, that the progressive agenda is what the American people want.
You know, Senator Sanders brings up the necessity for a grassroots movement quite a bit because, and I think it goes ignored for the most part because people are still in this mindset of, we need saviors in Congress to look out for us. And to be sure, people like Senator Sanders are on the right side of most of these issues and do fight for us. But I do think that a grassroots movement is incredibly important. Organized labor, I think, is an important part of this equation, but we don't have that right now. So, the question really remains, will Bernie Sanders hold Manchin's feet to the fire by literally doing rallies in Manchin's state of West Virginia? He says that he's open to it. Ryan Grim, what do you think?
Well, what I took from that, and he tried to dodge the question from Mehdi a couple times, and it's very hard to do that. Mehdi is not, Mehdi, say what you want about him, he's not going to let you dodge his question. And so what I took from his kind of passive voice in the answer was that he thinks other people should go to West Virginia, and he is fine with people in the progressive organizing space, kind of pressuring him in West Virginia. But I did not take from that a commitment that he himself would go there. And it goes back to the question of whether that would actually push Joe Manchin. I think if you had 500 West Virginians showing up at every single one of Manchin's field offices around the state of West Virginia, and he was getting reports back from that every time he had a public event somewhere in West Virginia that 400 or 500 people showed up. Often he's in towns of 200 or 300, and so if people were coming from all over the state pressuring him, then I think he would feel that because he would register that in his political bones as indicative of the mood of his state. And that could matter. If just Bernie Sanders going to West Virginia and holding one rally, I think in some ways he would see that as a political plus for him, because he could say, look, I'm standing up to the Democrats so strongly, that Bernie Sanders is even coming here trying to tell me what to do. Well, I'm not somebody you can push around. He is somebody you could push around if West Virginians, and there is a movement there. West Virginia Can't Wait, ran candidates for local, state, and federal office across the state, and if they organized serious pressure against him, I think he would feel that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that that would certainly make an impact. But I originally thought that if, let's say, Kamala Harris went to West Virginia to campaign and rally for the relief bill, I didn't know if that was going to play well with West Virginians. But Manchin got super salty about that because he didn't like the fact that West Virginians were being told exactly what they were being offered by Biden's proposal, by Biden's relief bill, and he was terrified that he was going to get called out for serving as an obstacle for that. And I think about the unionization drive in Bessemer, Alabama for Amazon fulfillment workers, warehouse workers. And there were lawmakers, obviously progressive lawmakers, visiting Bessemer in order to, help build momentum for that effort. And that got a lot of national attention. Now you see warehouse workers across the country also thinking about unionizing. And so it does build momentum, even if progressives that get demonized in corporate media are taking part in that effort. So, I think it would be effective to have both strategies implemented, but I agree with you. I mean, you watched the entirety of that interview and I didn't feel like there was a strong commitment from Senator Sanders, and
right,
that makes me worry a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the way that he emphasized the internal work being done, like the first answer that he wanted to give to Mehdi was about, well, there's internal work being done. We're doing this, and that's not what people are saying. People are saying, no, what's being done on the outside? How are you pressuring him? But then you get into that situation where somebody like Manchin, he sometimes feels like he gets stronger the more he gets attacked. Like if he could set up a situation where the media is talking about him and AOC in a fight, he'd probably rather fight AOC than Bernie. But say if it's him and AOC in a fight over the Green New Deal or over a green infrastructure package, then he may be wrong, but he feels like back home that he wins that political argument, that he can point to that and say, see, look, I'm standing up for West Virginia against outsiders who are trying to tell you what to do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how progressives plan on passing that infrastructure bill. Again, I'm mostly concerned that the tax hikes for the wealthy will basically turn into regressive taxes for all of us.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.